My girlfriend cheated on me despite her promise of virginity, so I tried to get revenge by dating her sister? I had always believed that love was built on mutual respect and understanding. My relationship with Lily was no exception, at least, that's what I thought. For the most part, our time together was filled with shared dreams and countless moments of joy. But beneath the surface, there was a growing tension that threatened to unravel everything we had built together. Lily had always been clear about her values and beliefs. One of the cornerstones of her faith was her commitment to remain a virgin until marriage. This was a deeply personal choice for her, and I respected it at first. But as time went on, the disparity between our desires began to create a rift. I wanted to be intimate with her, and the longing for that physical connection grew stronger as our relationship progressed. The pressure built up gradually, and with each passing day, I found myself struggling to reconcile my own desires with Lily's values. Our conversations about intimacy became more heated, and what had once been a topic of gentle discussion became a source of intense conflict. I wanted her to understand my perspective and to be willing to explore our physical relationship, while she felt overwhelmed by the expectations and demands. One evening, after yet another argument about our differing views on intimacy, I lost my temper. "Why can't you just understand how important this is to me?" I shouted, frustration evident in my voice. "Why can't we move forward and have a normal relationship?" Lily's face was pale, her eyes welling up with tears. "It's not that simple for me, Alex," she said, her voice trembling. "This is something I've always believed in. It's a part of who I am." But my frustration clouded my judgment. I pushed and pressured her, demanding that she meet my needs. I tried to convince her that it was the only way we could be truly close, that it was a necessary step for us to grow as a couple. My insistence only drove a wedge between us, and what had once been a loving relationship became a battleground of conflicting desires and unmet expectations. Eventually, the pressure and tension became unbearable. Lily, feeling cornered and betrayed by my insistence, suggested we take a break. It was a desperate attempt to find some clarity and space away from the constant strain. I agreed, thinking that time apart might help us both gain perspective. The break was supposed to be a time for us to reflect on our relationship and gain some clarity. Lily agreed, although I could see the sadness in her eyes. We both needed space, but neither of us anticipated the impact this time apart would have on our lives. During our break, Lily was left alone with her thoughts and emotions. She felt isolated and confused, struggling with the pressure and expectations that had built up between us. It was during this period of vulnerability that she found herself in a situation she hadn't anticipated. One evening, Lily went out with some friends to clear her mind. They ended up at a party where the atmosphere was light and carefree. Amidst the laughter and casual conversations, Lily met someone who seemed to offer her an escape from her emotional turmoil. He was charming and attentive, providing the kind of comfort she had been craving. As the night progressed, Lily found herself drawn to him. They shared intimate conversations, and the connection between them grew stronger. In a moment of vulnerability and confusion, she allowed herself to be intimate with him. It was a decision she later deeply regretted, but at the time, it felt like a fleeting escape from the pain and isolation she had been experiencing. The encounter was brief but impactful. Lily returned home feeling a mix of guilt and relief. She had crossed a line, and the weight of her actions began to settle in. She knew it was a mistake, but she also felt trapped by the complex emotions she was grappling with. When Lily and I eventually reconnected, she was torn about whether to reveal what had happened. She knew that the betrayal would cause immense pain, but she also felt a moral obligation to be honest with me. With great trepidation, she decided to come clean. We met at a cafe, a place filled with memories of better times. The warmth of the cafe seemed to contrast sharply with the gravity of our conversation. Lily was already seated when I arrived, her expression one of deep apprehension. I sat down across from her, sensing that the conversation was about to take a serious turn. "Alex," she began, her voice trembling, "there's something I need to tell you. During our break, I was with someone else. We had sex." The words felt like a heavy blow, shattering the illusion of stability I had been holding on to. My heart pounded, and my mind raced to process the betrayal. I stared at Lily, struggling to reconcile this new reality with the love and trust we had shared. "I'm so sorry," Lily continued, tears streaming down her face. "I was overwhelmed and confused. I made a mistake, and I deeply regret it." I could barely speak. The betrayal was almost too much to bear, and I felt a surge of anger and heartbreak. I needed space to process the hurt and confusion, so I stood up abruptly, leaving Lily behind. The cold air outside felt like a stark contrast to the warmth of the cafe and the emotional turmoil inside me. Unable to process my emotions and feeling a deep sense of injustice, I decided to take a different approach to dealing with my pain. Instead of seeking therapy or confronting Lily directly, I chose to take matters into my own hands in a way that would test my own moral boundaries. Lily had a younger sister, Emma, whom I had never met but seen in a few family photos. Our first real interaction began at a bookstore where Emma worked part-time. I had gone there to browse, trying to distract myself from the turmoil in my personal life. Emma was working at the counter, and I noticed her friendly demeanor as she assisted customers with genuine interest. I hesitated before approaching her, but eventually decided to strike up a conversation. "Hey, I remember you from the cafe," I said, trying to sound casual. "You're Emma, right?" She looked up with a bright smile. "Yes, that's me. How's it going? I didn't expect to see you here." "I'm doing all right," I replied, glancing around the bookstore. "Just needed a change of scenery. This place is perfect for that." We started talking about books and quickly discovered we had some common interests. Emma's enthusiasm for literature was infectious, and our conversation flowed easily. She seemed genuinely interested in what I had to say, and I found her company refreshing amidst my emotional turmoil. Over the next few weeks, I made it a point to visit the bookstore regularly. Each time, our interactions became more personal and engaging. I learned about Emma's passion for writing and her dreams of becoming an author. She shared stories about her life, her hopes, and her struggles with a sense of openness that was both endearing and inviting. One afternoon, I walked into the bookstore to find Emma on her break. She was seated at a small cafe table in the corner, sipping a cup of coffee. I took the opportunity to join her. "Mind if I sit?" I asked. "Not at all," she said, gesturing to the empty chair across from her. "I could use some company." We talked for hours, discussing everything from our favorite books to personal experiences. Emma's warmth and honesty created a sense of intimacy that was both comforting and alluring. As we continued to meet, our conversations became more personal and emotionally charged. Emma started to rely on me for support and advice, and I found myself enjoying her company more than I had anticipated. One evening, after a particularly deep conversation, Emma suggested we go for a walk in the park. The evening air was cool, and the park was peaceful, providing a perfect backdrop for our discussion. We strolled along the paths, sharing our thoughts and dreams. As the sun began to set, Emma stopped and looked at me with a soft, hopeful expression. "I really enjoy spending time with you, Alex," she said. "You've been such a great friend. I feel like I can talk to you about anything." Her words touched me deeply. The connection we had developed was genuine, but I was also acutely aware of the deception I was perpetrating. I had initially intended to use Emma to get back at Lily, but the emotional bond that had formed between us made me question my own motives. Despite the growing connection, I struggled with the moral implications of my actions. The more I got to know Emma, the more I felt conflicted about continuing the deception. I had started to develop real feelings for her, but I was also aware of the damage I had already caused. Eventually, I decided that I needed to come clean. I couldn't continue the charade any longer. I invited Emma to a quiet park, hoping to find a place where we could talk without interruptions. Emma arrived, her face illuminated with a hopeful smile. We found a secluded bench and sat down, the atmosphere heavy with unspoken emotions. "Emma," I began, "there's something I need to tell you. Our time together has been meaningful to me, but I've been hiding something important. My connection with you has been genuine, but I have a complicated past with your sister, Lily." Emma's expression shifted from confusion to shock. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice trembling. I took a deep breath, struggling to find the right words. Lily and I were in a relationship, and we had a difficult break. During that time, she was with someone else, and that's why we ended things. I didn't handle it well, and I started seeing you without being upfront about who I was. Emma's face fell, and tears welled up in her eyes. "You used me to get back at my sister?" she asked, her voice breaking. "How could you?" The pain and betrayal in Emma's voice were palpable. I felt a profound sense of remorse. "I'm sorry," I said, my voice filled with regret. "I didn't mean to hurt you. My actions were wrong, and I should have been honest from the start." Emma stood up, her emotions raw and hurt. "I need some time," she said, her voice trembling. "I can't believe you would do this to me." I watched as she walked away, feeling a deep sense of guilt and regret. My quest for revenge had led to an outcome far more painful than I had anticipated. The damage was done, and the price of my actions was a harsh reminder of the consequences of deception. In the days that followed, I reflected on the pain I had caused. My attempts to get back at Lily had ultimately hurt Emma and myself. I reached out to Lily, hoping to find some resolution. We met to talk, and I expressed my regrets and apologies for my actions. Our conversation was filled with pain and regret, but it was also an opportunity for closure. Our relationship had changed irreparably, and while we both acknowledged the need for healing, we knew that moving forward together was no longer possible. We parted ways with a sense of finality, accepting that our paths had diverged. As for Emma, I never saw her again. I hoped she would find happiness and healing despite the hurt I had caused. The experience was a harsh lesson in the consequences of seeking revenge and the importance of facing one's actions with honesty and integrity. In the end, the story of my actions became one of personal reflection and growth. The pain and betrayal I had experienced were significant, but they also served as a reminder of the importance of respect and honesty in relationships. The journey was far from easy, but it was a testament to the complexity of human emotions and the consequences of our choices. Thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed these Reddit stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next one.